Turn left onto Ryan Avenue.
It's a road, but it's not a road. Believe it or don't, I'm in the biggest city in California. It's also the 11th biggest city in the country. But nobody's here. It doesn't look like a city. Where are all the houses? It's just tumbleweeds and roads that lead nowhere. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. There's a place out in the middle of the California desert that was supposed to one day be as big as Los Angeles. It's called California City, and it's one of the most ambitious real estate schemes in U.S. history. Today, it's the biggest city never built. In 1959, a real estate tycoon developer guy had a big vision. He bought 89,000 acres of cheap desert 100 miles from Los Angeles, right here, where I am right now. Then he announced this would one day be a huge city. He convinced a lot of people this place would be big and important. He was going to make the desert bloom. He split up all this land into little parcels and convinced 50,000 people to buy in. He made $100 million doing that. It was wonderful. And then nothing happened. It turned into this. Nothing. We're at an intersection. There were supposed to be homes all up and down this. This was supposed to be a neighborhood. It just never got built. These days, a few new homesteaders make their way out here, but as you can see, all of these lots are empty. You could buy one if you wanted to. Some are on sale for $15,000. Some people own land in this desert, but never built a house. Some of these lots will never sell. It's so interesting and weird. Looks like they made a driveway. They never made the house. It's just a driveway. There's a water hydrant. There's no houses. There's an 83rd Street. I had big expectations for this place. There's houses here and there, but a big chunk of California City is just empty land. When they created this place 50 years ago, they dug in all the road infrastructure. The roads are still graded, and they all have street names, just like a regular city. And all these roads are just etched into the sand like ancient ruins. Is like a grid, and there's roads, but there's nothing on them. Look at this satellite shot. That's 203 square miles, and there's only 15,000 people here. The city actually says all that vacant land is an asset, which is technically true. Some random house all by itself. Dirt road. This was supposed to be a house or a street. There were supposed to be backyard barbecues here, and cars in driveways, and fences and swimming pools. But it kind of looks like a big sprawling survivalist camp. Are they going home? Maybe there's a house way out there. You probably wouldn't think this place was fun. I couldn't imagine being a bored teenager here. That would suck. There's a couple of grocery stores here, but you'd have to drive 45 minutes to Lancaster if you wanted anything complicated. There's dollar stores everywhere. They have everything a small town has in the main part of town, which is located here. Yes, this is the only part where there are people. All of this inside the border was one day going to be filled in, at least according to the founder. That's a lot of empty land for one city. There's a lot of things that they could do with this. If you're not into riding dirt bikes, you probably wouldn't have a lot of friends here. There's a few bars and some Mexican joints. There really isn't much to do for fun except golf. Yes, there's a golf course here. I know. Looks like the golf course is the only thing green for like 20 miles. This was supposed to have been a big central park like the one in New York City, if you can believe it. They clearly didn't get that done. But this is a city. They have a city council. And we're going to talk to somebody who ran for city council in a bit. A lot of people who live here are retirees, but lately some folks have trickled in from all over the West. People who want cheap land and all. For a lot of people, this is all they can afford. You can do it. Look, there's websites all over the place that list parcels of land. You can get 19 acres for 15 grand. This one's 4 acres for 12 grand. There's just 64 acres for 49 grand? What? Look, here's another one that's 5 grand. Damn, people. This could be yours. And that would be your neighbor. Here's another lot. Not too far away from the other one. I'm telling you, people, like everybody complains about how expensive it is in LA and in California in general. Why don't you just move out here? I'm not sure who you'd be buying the land from, since the original founder sold the rights a long time ago. And keep in mind, it's $600 a square foot to build a home in California these days. That means it would cost $960,000 to build a home here? Never mind. Damn. You'll definitely spend a lot more money on gas out here. Price gouging is a thing way out in the desert. I almost ran out. I finally found a place to put a few gallons in and had to suck it up. $5.89, people. Oh, thank God. I'll pay anything for gas. Remember, this is way out in the middle of nowhere. Here's what it looks like coming into town from the nearest freeway. I guess this is perfect for a certain type of isolationist. You definitely wouldn't have to deal with most of the California drama being way out in the sticks like this.
I would live here.
Wait, you would live here?
Yeah, I'd be the richest person here. And even if I just had a regular car, people would think I was rich.
What's a regular car?
A BMW.
BMW is a nice car. I'd rather drive an F-150 than a damn BMW. California City officially became a city in 1965. Back then, you could get a lot for $8,500. That's just how it was back then. You could get a decent house for 20 grand in California only 60 years ago. So anyways, the guy who founded this place and sold a bunch of land to people, he wasn't very well liked, but he was smart. He marketed this place as the next California metropolis. And at first, people came by the busloads and airplanes to look at land and buy acreage. It was kind of buying hysteria. Folks even dug their own lots out by hand. Who knows? Maybe he'll actually make this a real city and we'll be rich, they said. It'll be like the next Vegas, they said. But then people stopped coming. And after 10 years, it was clear this was not going to be what it was supposed to be. There were only 1,700 people here after year 10. Where is everyone? Everyone said. So I guess a lot of people felt duped. Maybe there really were no plans to develop the area. But the guy made $100 million, possibly somewhat scamming people. There's still a lot of drama associated with this place. There have been lawsuits and government intervention. I guess people are still pissed off about being tricked to buy land here. But it's California. What'd you expect? There's drama everywhere here. There's land everywhere here. It's practically free. Not really. I suppose there's things to consider. You'd have to pay your outrageous California property taxes. And who knows if water will run out one day. Your neighbor will maybe be on meth. LOL, JK. The whole place reminds me of what they're doing in China. Developing big giant communities and then abandoning the project. There's all these halfway constructed cities everywhere in China, just like this. It's pretty conservative out here, as you might imagine. 2/3 of the population votes for Republican candidates. Good for them. The layout of this place is pretty random. Some people build big fancy homes on their lots and some don't. There's a nicer part of town that looks like a normal Southern California burb. This is what that looks like. It's here that you'd find the most expensive pre-built homes. Check this out. There's been 4 houses that have sold for $500K or more here in the last year. For California, that's a crazy deal, I guess. A few people are trickling into town these days, but it's just slow going trying to get folks to take a chance on the West. It can kind of feel like a retirement place in some parts of town. The bowling alley and movie theater closed down a while ago. That sucks. It's like he's walking on a sidewalk. There's no sidewalk. That's the entertainment right there. Family Dollar, Starbucks, and McDonald's. Reminds me of camp. Like people just put their tents up wherever they want in the woods. Like whose yard is whose? You don't even know. You turn down a road, you know, is that someone's driveway? Is that gonna be a road one day? I'm in the middle of the highway. There's nobody around. Really. Someone just decided I gotta live right here. With nobody around. Actually, it looks pretty nice to me. It is quiet, I'll tell you that. People move here to get away from you and me. Just stand on their quiet porches and stare up at the stars and not have to hear screaming and sirens. I think I heard there's homeless people that camp all around here in different spots, but I didn't see any. There's lots of room for them to spread out. It's not crazy dangerous here. I mean, there's a bunch of low-life property thieves and lots of druggies, but it's not necessarily violent here or anything. It's kind of hard to get away with much out here. You really stand out because everybody seems to know everybody. I guess you could say folks out this way might be considered lower class for California standards. Mom and dad bring in about $25K each. But $50K can be stretched quite a bit in a place like this. And homes are only $280,000 on average. That's doable. Very doable. Huh, Californians? You don't have to move to Phoenix or Texas anymore. It's all right here in your own backyard. Would you please listen to me? I mean, why not? Especially now. We all need somewhere cheap. Buy some land and truck in your trailers, everyone. If there's 50,000 lots here and 50,000 homeless people in LA, why doesn't LA County just buy up all these lots and give everyone a place to squat? The homeless problem is solved. That probably won't happen, though. But based on the home prices and all this open land, I can't believe this isn't a thing yet. Way out here in the desert, where there's no traffic and no pollution. Who knows? Maybe one day this place will live up to its original potential. It might just take a few hundred years. Now, I try to find somebody to talk to me about California City who is maybe optimistic about the place, somebody who could reinforce my notion that this place has a lot of potential. But man, oh man, it was the opposite of that. I talked to a city council candidate, Sean Bradley, for 20 minutes. He told me the city was still counting votes from the last election, so he didn't know if he would win or not. Basically, the entire interview was Sean complaining about the city, saying it was run down and boring and filled with people who were not into making the place better. He downplayed my excitement that this place could be the future home for people who want a cheap living. He complained about crumbling roadways, no pride, crooked politicians. I wish it had been more interesting, but it's California City. I guess there really isn't much worth talking about. Here's a little bit of that interview. Thanks for coming on to talk to me about California City a little bit.
Sure.
So I heard that you ran for California City Council, and I couldn't find the election results. Did you win?
No, they're actually still counting.
Oh, well, it's California. Imagine that, right?
Yeah, the whole state's like this, so, you know. But they're doing another update Friday.
There's only, how many people voted? They can't be, how long does it take to count 15,000?
I think they've only counted like 1,300 votes in my town.
Yeah, it takes them that long
to vote anyways, so.
Okay.
I don't know.
I just can't figure out why more people don't live there. It's cheap land. Everybody complains about high home prices in California, and there's nowhere to build, there's nowhere to live. There's a huge place out there in the middle of the desert that people could live in.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think what it is there's not a lot around here. Our town over the past several years has declined, not improved. Our roadways are crumbling. Just not a lot of pride all around. I think a lot of people have just given up. They think it's crooked politicians serving their own interests, and we got trees that are dying southward city.
Do people? I get it. Yeah. No, I get it. Well, do other people feel California City is declining? Because I look at the population numbers and it's not shooting up like a rocket, but there's more people moving there. Do a lot of people in town feel like the place is going downhill? The way I drove through, and from what I've heard, it was just a kind of a quiet place where conservatives can go out and shoot guns and drive four-wheelers around and not have to worry about too much.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. A lot of people are families out here, you know, so they're raising their kids. And I was here at the time when I came back in 2014, where we did have green grass in front of City Hall. You could go to our Central Park where we have a little lake and a waterfall that you could look at, enjoy. But all those things are now gone because no one has kept up with them. Everything has just started dwindling. I have family who refuses to come visit me. They've been here and they're like, I'm not going back there. When I go there and I'm there, I feel depressed. I feel like everyone is just so different, their thought processes, you know, because a lot of people are angry. And
God, Sean, I'm listening to this, and it's funny because I agree that those are frustrations. I was sort of going to pitch this place as an alternative from all the California drama and a cheap place to live. And people should consider it. And here you are just saying the complete opposite of that, which is amusing to me.
Yeah, it is cheap living, sure. But it's like anything in life, you get what you pay for, right? So things can be very affordable, but then you have nothing to do, nowhere to go, a society around you that is just none like other, you know.
All right. Hey, I get you. I didn't want this to be just a gripe fest, and I hear you.
There's not things for people to go and do and enjoy. Like, we don't have really anything. You know, you don't have your typical bar to go hang out with your buddies in. You don't, you have nothing.
No, I
Nothing
get
for the
you.
so how do you adapt to it? Like, I guess it really takes the person. Like me, I'm a person who can be fine by myself in the whole entire world if that's what it came down to. So it's kind of like I don't have certain needs like other people do. So I think it really depends on the person. Some people like the quietness. Some people like the less of chaos and the no traffic congestion like they have in LA or all those things. But I think anything like anywhere can change in time, right? If you have a bunch of people who want to come here, embrace the town, and make changes, and anything is possible, like anywhere. But it's just making sure those people have that drive to do that. So.
Do you think California City can ever get to the point where it was supposed to have been a giant metropolis in California? I mean, that place is huge. The roads are there. The original plans were it to be the next Los Angeles or Las Vegas, and clearly it is not that yet. Do you think that could ever happen? Could that desert turn into a big giant community one day?
So realistically, I would say yes. But it takes people. It takes the right people in your government. It takes the right people to stop things from being hindered, to not going forward and growing. You know what I mean? So I think here, just like anywhere, always has that opportunity, but it all comes down to your people in office and the people running everything to help it go forward or stay stagnant or go backwards. So. So would I like to say that it can be? Sure, I have no doubt it won't be one day. Maybe we all won't be here on Earth, but you know what I mean? I think it really does have that potential. And it just takes people investing in that potential, hoping and praying that,
Well, I think it's a neat place again, and I think that people that are worried about being able to afford living in Southern California that need to get into LA and all the other places out there should consider moving out there. And a lot of people probably didn't even know the place is even there. So maybe one day you'll be involved in city council and you can turn the place around and make it a good place the way you think it should be run, Sean.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Are you looking to move and need advice? I do consulting. That's right. I'll sit down and talk about where the next perfect place for you and your family should be. I do it all the time. Together, let's find you a new home that's safe and checks all your boxes. And I can also help you find your new house too. Email me and I'll work with you on not just helping you figure out where to move, but I can help you find your perfect home too. That's right. I know awesome, reliable agents all over the country, and I'd love to connect you to somebody who can help you search for that perfect home. Hey guys, if you learned something new about America or what it's like to live in America, great. You should think about subscribing and turning on your notifications. You can also click one of these videos or playlists for more.
This is Sage, Nick's manager. This has been a Corner House Entertainment production.